Hi everyone, I'm Victoria Stephen, and today I'm sharing how my mother-in-law's obsession with garbage bags exposed her true colors. 3 years ago, life felt like a fairy tale. At 28, I had a thriving real estate business and had just married James Stephen, the most eligible bachelor in town. He was a charismatic corporate lawyer who swept me off my feet. Our honeymoon phase was pure bliss, and his mother, Barbara, seemed to adore me. "Victoria, darling, you're exactly what this family needed," Barbara would say, champagne glass in hand, at her glamorous weekly soirees. Back then, I basked in her approval. But hindsight is 20/20ths, and looking back, I wish I'd seen through her polished exterior. My sister Emma was the first to raise a red flag. "Something's off about her," Emma warned. "The way she keeps tabs on everything you do, it's not normal." I brushed it off. To me, Barbara's attention felt like acceptance, not control. I had Rachel, my best friend and co-worker, in my corner. She became my sounding board for all things Barbara during our coffee runs. "Girl, did you hear what Barbara said about your Christmas decorations?" Rachel teased one day. "That woman has more opinions than I have clients." Then there was Tyler, James's best friend, who saw through Barbara's antics. Whenever she made one of her passive-aggressive remarks, Tyler would roll his eyes. "Just wait," he'd whisper during dinners. "She does this to everyone." Total control freak. And how was he right? Barbara's need to control seeped into my life like a slow-moving storm. It started small, rearranging my kitchen without asking, bombarding me with texts about how to fold James's shirts the Stephen way. "Sweetheart," she'd say with a sugary smile, "let me show you how we Stevens do things." It was annoying, but manageable, until the garbage bag incident. One evening, as I took out the trash, Barbara burst into the kitchen unannounced, her face twisted with disapproval. "What are these black garbage bags doing in my son's house?" she barked. "They're just regular garbage bags, Barbara." "They work fine," I replied, confused. "We use premium white drawstring bags from Williams and Morton," she snapped. This dollar store trash is unacceptable. How do you expect to maintain our family standards with this?" I tried to reason with her. "Barbara, they're just garbage bags. They all end up in the same place." But she wasn't having it. James, come here. Do you see what your wife is doing to our family's reputation?" James, tired from work, trudged into the room. Instead of defending me, he sighed. "Honey, maybe we should just use Mom's bags. It's not worth the argument." "Not worth the argument?" I exclaimed. "Your mother is screaming about garbage bags." "You're being too sensitive, Victoria. Mom just wants what's best for us." That night, as I lay in bed listening to James defend his mother, something in me shifted. My picture-perfect marriage was beginning to feel like it reeked worse than those inferior garbage bags. Barbara's interference didn't stop there. When my dad had a heart attack a few weeks later, I had to leave town to help my family. "It's only 2 weeks," James said, kissing me goodbye. "Mom offered to stay here and help. Don't worry about anything." Those words would haunt me. The first few days at home were eerily quiet. James barely responded to my texts, claiming he was busy with work. Then Rachel called with alarming news. "Victoria, something weird is happening at the office," she said. "Barbara's been showing up at the Stephen firm every day, having long closed-door meetings with James and the partners." I tried to brush it off. Maybe it's about the family trust. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. My stomach churned as Rachel's words echoed in my mind. "No, Victoria," I overheard her. Barbara was talking to James in the break room, saying things like, "She'll never fit into our world, and think about your future at the firm." Something wasn't adding up. Sitting in Dad's hospital room, I opened our online banking app. That's when I saw them. 6 hefty transfers from Barbara to James, each over $50,000, all within the past month. I texted James, "Hey babe, what's with these loans from your mom?" His reply was instant and icy. "Don't snoop through my finances, it's family business." A chill ran down my spine. James was shutting me out. Then Tyler called. "Victoria, you need to know something," he said, his voice serious. "What happened?" I asked, gripping my phone tighter. "I was at James' office yesterday. Barbara's poisoning him against you. She's convinced him you're using him for his money, that you're not Stephen material. He's different now. It's like he's under her spell." "That's ridiculous," I said, trying to sound confident. James wouldn't believe that. We love each other. Tyler sighed. Wake up, Victoria. Yesterday he said you're dragging down the family name with your common job and low-class background. Each day brought new horrors. James's calls became shorter, his tone colder. Maybe Mom's right, he muttered during one conversation. We come from different worlds. After 10 days, Dad was stable and Emma could take over his care. I rushed home early, desperate to save my marriage. But the moment I pulled into the driveway, my heart sank. Barbara's car was parked in my spot, and the house looked different. Inside, it felt like a stranger's home. My photos were gone, replaced with Barbara's curated decor. My closet was empty except for a single box labeled Victoria's Things. What's going on? I called out, panic rising. Barbara appeared in the kitchen, wearing my apron. Oh, Victoria, you're early, she chirped. James is at the office. He left something for you on the counter. There it was, divorce papers. A post-it note in James's handwriting stuck to the top. It's better this way. You'll never truly be one of us. I stood there, surrounded by boxes of my life, as the realization hit me. Barbara had orchestrated this all along. But as tears threatened to fall, I remembered something Dad always said. Sometimes losing a battle helps you win the war. If Barbara thought this was over, she had no idea what was coming. I started digging. My first stop? Tyler. He pulled out an old photo of James' ex-fiancée, Jennifer. Barbara claimed she caught Jennifer stealing family jewelry, Tyler explained. How do you know she didn't? Because Barbara planted it, he said grimly. She bragged about it at last year's Christmas party when she was drunk. I recorded it. Tyler played the recording, Barbara's slurred voice unmistakable. James is so easy to manipulate. Just like with Jennifer and that waitress, Maria. A few tears, some doubts. My boy always chooses mommy. Before I could process this, Rachel called. Victoria, you need to see these documents, like now. At her house, she spread out papers across the dining table. I've been digging through the Stephen firm's public financial records, Rachel said. Look, Barbara's signature is all over these shady transactions. What kind of transactions? I asked, leaning in. Shell companies, failed businesses, massive withdrawals. And these? She pointed to checks made out to Sunset Valley Casino. The casino that got shut down for money laundering. Exactly. Guess who was on their VIP list? Armed with this mountain of evidence, I confronted James at his house. You need to see this, James, I said, holding the files. Your mother is stealing from the firm. He didn't even glance at the documents. More lies, he spat. Mom warned me you'd pull something like this. Barbara's gambling away company money. Look at these receipts. Get out before I call security. Mom was right. You're just a gold digger trying to destroy this family. The final blow came from Tyler's recordings. Once Victoria's gone, James will have access to the partner track funds. We can cover the casino losses before anyone notices. You're talking about fraud, James's voice replied. I'm talking about family, darling, Barbara purred. Just trust mommy. Sitting in my new apartment, surrounded by boxes, I realized Barbara had destroyed my marriage, but in doing so, she'd left herself exposed. She thought I'd slink away quietly. She was wrong. Rachel smirked as we sent anonymous tips to the IRS and SEC detailing Barbara's financial misdeeds. You won't believe what happened at the country club, Rachel said weeks later. 2 guys showed up looking for Barbara. Turns out, she owes a lot of money to some unfriendly people from Sunset Valley Casino. Oh, it gets better. James just found out his trust fund is empty. Barbara's been draining it for years, using it to cover her gambling debts. He's walking around the office like a ghost, completely broken. The Stephen family business didn't survive the audit. Every stone the investigators turned over revealed another snake lurking beneath it. Barbara's fake charities, embezzled funds, tax evasion, it all came crashing down. Did you hear about the Morton dinner party? Tyler texted me one night. Barbara showed up uninvited. Ed was desperate to save face, but Margaret Morton had security escort her out, called her a common criminal in front of everyone. Meanwhile, I was building something better. I launched Stephen Free Realty, and turns out, high-end clients preferred working with someone who wasn't tainted by the Stephen scandal. My business flourished while their empire crumbled. Then, one day, James cornered me outside my office. He looked nothing like the polished lawyer I married. Victoria, can we talk? His voice was hoarse. I had no idea about Mom's schemes. I've lost everything, my partnership, my reputation. I felt a bitter laugh rise in my chest. That's funny. I lost everything too. But the difference is I built something better. I was wrong about everything. Maybe way. Stop right there. I cut him off. I'm engaged to someone who actually has a spine. 2 years later, I sat in my expanded office reading about Barbara's indictment for tax fraud. The society pages that once showcased her charity galas were now covering her courthouse bow of shame. James? Last I heard, he was reviewing contracts at a strip mall law firm. That evening, I met Emma and Rachel for drinks at our favorite spot. My engagement ring caught the light as I raised my glass. To garbage bags, Rachel laughed. To karma, Emma added. To knowing your worth, I finished, thinking about how that horrible time had led me here, stronger, successful, and surrounded by people who actually had my back. Later that night, my fiancé asked why I was smiling at my phone. I showed him the text from Tyler. Barbara spotted filling out job applications at the mall. Guess she needs to pay those legal bills somehow. You never told me exactly what you did, he said. I shrugged. Nothing. Just stood back and let karma take out the trash. The garbage bag incident that started it all seemed almost laughable now. Barbara had been right about one thing. You need to be careful about the track you keep around. I'd taken mine out, and my life had never been better. So, what would you do if your spouse chose their toxic parent over you? Would you expose their illegal activities to get justice, or walk away quietly to protect your peace? I chose to let karma handle it, and karma delivered. But I'm curious, what path would you take? Would you actively seek revenge or trust that what goes around comes around? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.